Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they've spent. Take another look and take some time for hemp. Don't cut trees for paper, 'cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp.
Yes, it is. It is time for hemp. I am your host, Casper Leitch. Thank you for tuning in to the big broadcast today. And we are going to be focusing today on utilizing hemp as a building material, which a lot of people say building material. What can you build besides a nice sandwich with like hemp bread or some kind of hemp sauce for your spaghetti? But you can do more than use hemp for food or fiber. You can also use it for, building homes. And we're going to be talking about that today. And we're going to be, don't forget, anytime you hear the word joint on the big broadcast, hit your pipes, your bongs, your vaporizers, and take time for hemp. Joining us on the big broadcast from Canada is a gentleman who's been working diligently to end cannabis prohibition in his country, Al Graham. He's got Pace Radio Network, and he is a fantastic communicator and a wonderful reporter. Al, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Just to let everybody know, PACE, People Advocating Cannabis Education, is about cannabis as well as psychedelics. We have programming 7 days a week. A new show is released each day, and everything is replayed again on Saturday, back to back. So catch us out, paceradio.net.
And we've also got a fantastic joint host from the southern part of the United States in a little state called Florida, and that is Al Byrne. He's also a writer of a pretty groovy book that you might want to pick up sometime called For Country and Cannabis. Hey, Al Byrne.
Gentlemen, nice to see you guys. And yes, I am in Florida, and I am glad I am, because everybody else in this country is cold, and I'm actually quite comfortable. So I made a good decision coming here. But yeah, we're talking hemp today, which is, of course, cannabis. And the book I wrote there, For Country and Cannabis, discusses hemp. And I think you should read it if you have any kind of interest at all. And if you're a patient, if you're a caregiver, if you're interested in the history of the movement, if you're interested in the details of, for instance, of why should I use cannabis? Well, just it kills cancer cells. So let's start there. And the book is full of all the references you need to back all that kind of stuff up. But we're talking hemp, and yeah, I bring hemp into the book, but I also want to point out another book. I think I'm making that one clear. Cannabis
and medical practice.
Yeah. This is a book that I did not write. I produced in 1997. And actually, it was the only book referenced in the 2001 Institute of Medicine's study on cannabis. And there's a story around all that. But I bring up that title because it's still in print. And in there is 2 excellent chapters about hemp grown for food and hemp grown for, among other things, construction materials.
Cool.
So I just want to tell you that this conversation's been around for a while, and hey, 1997, I was talking it. You know what I mean? So it's going to be fun to do that today. Our guest is a peripatetic individual. And as such, we've cornered him in North Carolina and on the West Coast, and he's headed out to New Zealand soon. And we've had him before as a guest. Quite interesting man. We're going to talk a lot about his idea of creating houses for veterans and the elderly. And so I may introduce, please, Greg Flavall.
G'day.
The hemp guy. Okay, I forgot that part. He's the hemp guy. And you're on the West Coast right now, aren't you, Greg?
I am indeed. Yeah, I'm sitting in little old Southern Oregon in Medford, which is like the extension to the Emerald Triangle from Northern California.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's also a beautiful
What's
area.
your
of our
latest
country.
project? What are you working on, Greg?
So we're working on basically we do everything with the plant. I mean, we do. I mean, Al mentioned earlier about food and fuel and everything else, but the 5 tenets for us are food, fuel, shelter, clothing, and health, all designed around the cannabis sativa L plant, and as well as the health and wellness. All the products that we make and consume and help other people with. And it's just right across the board. We do, our initiative for our Hemp Town on Main 501c3 is to help homeless veterans and seniors. I'm noticing even in my own travels, locally, a lot more seniors ending up on the street. And really in this economy, it's been spiraling down for some time, in my opinion. A lot of people are like one paycheck away or 1 month away from being homeless. And the medical bills are mounting, and pressures of regular everyday food on the table is increasing. I think that, with our agricultural materials, we can help with alleviating that issue with housing. We have designed some modular units. I think I've spoken about these before, that were designed around 4x8 sheets of plywood and OSB for making some homeless shelters. And these are modular. We don't have to do permits with them, up to 200 square feet. They're portable. They can be taken down again. But in our case, they wouldn't be, because we build them on site using hemp and other agricultural waste material. So we've kind of morphed from that picture you've got up there. That was the first permitted hemp house in America, done on Town Mountain in Asheville, North Carolina.
That's beautiful.
We did
Yeah,
that.
that's a cool house, man.
Yeah, 2008, 2009. And we built that house for $133 a square foot using recycled cement, recycled steel, recycled windows and doors. We carted, that was 3,000 feet up on the side of a mountain. We had to make the road to put the house in. And we, when the owner converted from a construction loan to a 30-year, it went from 133 to $240 a square foot in terms of valuation. And we also, to this day, we still get up to 30% discount on a fire insurance, because the stuff just does not burn. I mean, it will eventually, but it'll take a long, long time. So the doors and the windows will blow out before the hempcrete walls do. So it makes it a lot safer. And we get even in New Zealand, where I built my own house with hemp many, many years ago, we still get a 30% discount, or around about 30% discount on the fire insurance.
Nice.
What do you use for a roof?
Roofing, just regular roofing materials. Usually I'm using
Like tin
standing seam metal roofing.
Metal roofing. No, I was thinking along with the I live in a very prone fire area, and metal roof is almost a requirement where I live. So I'm thinking, you got a metal roof and a hemp structure.
Yep.
You're not fireproof, but you're damn close to it.
Well, it's fire retardant, we should say, because lime, just to put it in a bit more technical layman's language, if you like, the cellulose, which is the lime in the wood or whatever we're using as the insulation, it's got to be protected. So the lime binder that we're using is actually the protecting homogeneous security for the cellulose. And lime itself is inherently carrying moisture. And so it's the wall system that we make is always going to have some sort of moisture in it, but it's vapor permeable. So when the heat hits it, think about something. When heat hits us, we sweat. When heat from a fire hits the lime, it's sweating. So it's driving off moisture. So that's the actual layman's terms retardancy in the hempcrete, right? Just to put it in a bit more perspective. So because if you put a match to hemp, stalks, they're gonna fire up. But if you've encased that cellulose in some protection, like the lime, which is a natural material and it's available right across the planet, every country has huge, build up millions of years of calcium crustaceans for limestone. And that's essentially what we're using to protect the cellulose. And in the iwood structures that we're building, we're using 30% less lumber as it is. And then those wood shavings we can turn into cooking pellets, heating, and we also put some of those back into the mix to make the biocrete. So we've gone from, and it depends on which country we're talking to about building. We're using sugar cane waste and coconut waste in Mexico and South America.
Interesting.
So we're making, we make sugarcrete, cococrete. Biocrete is kind of the generic name I'm coining to it, because we can take a lot of different agricultural waste material and put it in there and protect it with the lime binder. And now you've got a solid wall. I mean, man, back in Eastern Europe and the Roman times, they used horse crap and horsehair and straw, and they would make adobe kind of infill, right? Same sort of principle, and that stuff it takes a long time to burn too. So it's the same sort of thermal mass and thermal conductivity all wrapped into one material to build a house that also you're going to be healthy living in, because the lime itself carries a pH of about 8.4. And so while you're exhaling inside your home, breathing, exhaling, you're putting out CO2 when the walls are saying, gimme, 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 and they're fossilizing. And so over a long period of time, those hempcrete or biocrete walls are going to fossilize and turn to rock.
Well, how easy is it to find this type of material in the United States and or New Zealand? Do you have to make it, have it specially made? Can you walk into Home Depot and get it?
You won't be able to. That's a great question, Casper, and I wish it was so that you could walk in and buy it off the shelf at Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace Hardware or whatever, but it just is not the reality. The cortication or the processing equipment to strip away the fiber, which makes my shirt, from the inside cellulosic pithy part of the plant, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of heavy equipment to do that, and to make it financially viable. Unless you're producing, or unless you have the capacity to produce around 4 metric tons per hour, you're not going to make any money anytime soon, right? And there's a lot of smaller operations for if you're doing it yourself. Yes, you can buy these rollers that you can grow a couple acres of hemp and decorticate it yourself. You run over it a few times with your tractor or your SUV, and you'll break up the inside part of the plant, and you can use that, mix it with some lime, and bada bing, away you go. It's not really rocket science. I mean, I remember 20 years ago, or 15 years ago, when we built the first places in North Carolina, I thought, man, I've discovered something that's better than sliced ham, and I'm going to corner the market on bio building hempcrete. Man, I brought it back from England. We built building the first houses. I'm going to corner the market with hempcrete. Well, that got because it comes down. It was more expensive because of the processing around the plant. It's hard to just to get that waste material into a state that you can actually use it commercially. And so that's been it's been a hard slog over many years.
While you're at many years, can I bring a question at you here? You made the first house there that we saw, the beautiful house you had a picture of, in 2006.
No. That was 2009. We started that house.
Okay, all right. So my question is, and I don't know what I'm talking about, but I understand that in Europe, constructions of some rather large buildings, maybe France, that have this been going on over there for
Correct. Yep. Al, you're spot on, and that's where I learned it, because I was in West LA doing a kitchen remodel for some friends of mine, and the wife was doing her law degree, and her thesis was on hemp, the miracle plant of the future. And I said, hemp? What the bollocks is hemp? And all of a sudden, she presents me with this thick, thesis that she's doing. I'm reading all about it, and then I read The Emperor Wears No Clothes and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, man, this is great. I ended up in England, going to the decortication facility and meeting some farmers, and then going on some builds and actually doing some stuff. And then thought, I'm going to bring this back to the US. So that's how we started back in North Carolina. But to your point, Al, yeah, they have for 20 years prior, they'd been using hemp waste in France, in Germany, in different countries, even in the Netherlands, for building. But mostly in France, they've been doing it. In fact, I had the rare privilege and honor of visiting a two-story hemp house in the old part of Paris,
Cool.
France.
Mm-hmm.
That had suffered a house fire, a full-on house blaze. Everything except the 4 hempcrete walls was blown out. Even some of the clay bricks in the fireplace had crumbled down, but the two-story walls of this house were still intact.
Wow.
I got to visit inside this house, and between the floors, they'd redone the roof. They'd done everything, and they put even more hemp into this place. Very old house. It's still standing today. It's still there. It doesn't look like it had a fire, but that was an amazing visual, first-hand experience, seeing a house that had been built, 20 years earlier.
So why do you figure? Yeah. I mean, other people in Europe or France, wherever the hell you were, said, "Hey, look at this." So how come it hasn't caught on in France or here?
It's catching on, but again, it's the price. I mean, it's 10 or 15, depending on where you are, maybe 20% more for your insulation of your new house than if you're doing regular, petrochemical pink bats, right?
Yeah.
It is a premium product to insulate the house, but and so that's an upfront cash cost, right? As a builder of homes, I'm like, how much I got to take out of my pocket, put on the table, turn the knob, and walk into my new house.
I got it.
And it's so all about the dollars and cents and the spreadsheet. But
if I'm a banker and you come to me and you say, I want to buy a hemp house, and because it's made out of hemp, it's going to cost whatever you think, 15% more than if it was just a stick job.
Correct.
And then the bank says, well, this extra money, and I say to them, well, here's 2 deals. I mean, we're going to pay a lot less fire insurance, and you're going to have a lot less problem with any kind of loss like that into the future with this product. And by the way, for that kind of a guarantee, you ought to give me a lower mortgage interest rate. I mean, I think that the capacity for a hemp home of some sort, big or small, you're talking about fire retardant, you're talking about it's antifungal, it's anti-mold, it gets nothing but stronger. It's unedible.
Al Byrne is saying, you would think that also because you can grow the material in your community. A farmer can put out 40 acres of this and grow what you need to build a house in your own hometown. You would think that it would be less costly. Now, why is that not such?
I got another question. Anything eat this stuff? I mean, there's something anything that eat hempcrete, because there's something in an earth that'll eat anything, and I'm just wondering if it has
like termites to wood. Is there anything like that?
No, in fact, studies have been done in Australia as well on white ants, in North America on termites, and they are termite resistant because the lime itself, the hemp, is obviously it's edible, but The lime itself is ascorbic, so it's rough. So the insects are going across the lime, and it's abrasive to them. So they don't, and it's also a bit of a smell, so they don't like it. It's aseptic, and so insects do not like it.
Insects. Okay, great. And then I'm sorry, Casper, but Casper had he's basically, this could be a local done deal. Basically, you could have a state growing a lot of hemp, maybe even state funded, merchandising to get the machinery, et cetera, get it going. And then you use it as a building material at local jobs. It seems like,
well, and then it should be cheaper if you do that. Why is it not less costly than the other old-fashioned way? Because it sounds like the old-fashioned way is more labor-inducive and requires more material, and the materials are harder to get hold of, whereas you can put in 40 acres of hemp and in 3 months start building a house.
Well, you really only need 2.5 acres of hemp. 1 hectare of hemp will insulate an average 1,500 square foot home.
Wow.
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So why does it cost so much more?
It's because of the processing. Because you've got the fiber on the outside of it, which is the bark around the tree, if you like. You got to strip that away, and then you've got the inside pithy part of the plant that you've got to break up and put into a position, get into a gauge, some sort of size that's better for using. So in that regard, we've come a long way in terms of sizing for hurd, or the inside part of the plant. And we've got different grade sizes that we use, and for a long time we've used like a universal size for horse bedding, animal bedding, which is kind of a cross between the micro size and the mate and the bigger size herd. But it's all about the insulation value. So the more air that's entrained in your aggregate mix that's protected with the lime binder, the higher your insulation value. Right. So, and also the fact that the herd is what we call hygroscopic.
Okay.
And
what does that mean?
That means that if you put it under a microscope and really magnify it out, you'll see it has a lot of xylem in it, which is a lot of like air pockets, holes that carry nutrients and air and everything in the plant. So that cellulose has it's like balsa wood. It's so light. And it has a lot of little pores in it that make it vapor permeable, and that's the attractiveness of it, and why it's a really good insulator. Because when you tamp it down inside, your temporary forms around the structural frame of the house or this whatever you're building, the tamping method or the casting method is going to determine how much air is left in that material that then becomes your insulative value.
Okay.
So the hempcrete, the way we do it, we're at about 1.6, 1.5 per inch. And that's based on the tensile strength that we want of the material cast around the frame. If we were doing it for roof insulation, we use less binder, more cellulose, and we're looking at about 2 R2 per inch.
All right.
Yeah.
So now, when are we working here? When you talk about building this structure, are we talking here with a preformed block, or are we talking you build a form and you fill it with a?
So yeah, good question. I'll run you through it. Simple like, in terms of you're going to build the frame of your house as usual with 2x4s, 2x6s, whatever. Typical framing is around 16 on center. Because we're using a monolithic infill cast in situ around the structural frame, whether it's steel, whether it's wood, whether it's concrete. We're going to do the rough framing as usual per the permitting, per the codes. Then you're going to get the water boy's going to come in, and that's your plumber. He's going to run all the waterworks, the rough. Then the electrical, the Sparky's going to come in and run all the electrical stuff, your low voltage, everything else. It's all set up in before you get your framing sign off from the inspector to then do the installation. And so the hemp becomes the insulation of the structure. So now we're putting up temporary forms around the framework, whether it's steel, whether it's lumber, whether it's concrete, whatever. And then we're casting in situ around that structural frame. That becomes the insulation of the house. And that's how we were able to get into the building codes and start working towards, and getting various permits for building.
That was where I was going, building code stuff. But I see what you just meet code, and after that, you're good to go. Let's see those books. Are they real? Oh, wait a minute.
That's a pretty cover.
Story. Okay.
So this is a children's book written by a buddy of mine, Christopher Scott, who's in his 80s now, but he's been involved in forestry, Canadian forestry, actually, for many, many years. Yeah. And then started the first 4 franchises of IKEA furniture in North America.
So and, say a kid book, how old is that pretty much designed to be?
Basically from whatever age, from the time they can start to read, or mom and dad can read at nighttime. Right. It's all, and we go up to the adult style book with the iWood and so forth, and these are children's books on forestry and forestry management, and
where can they find
about wood and using.
Open one of them up. Open one of them kid books up. What do they look like inside?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful art.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I love the illustrations.
Big print.
Big print.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Wow. No, that looks really good. Right. Yeah.
They're currently available on Amazon, right? We're going to be having them up through the, done through our Hemp Town on Main, as a merchandisable type of thing.
Okay, and then the wood, the one that said wood, you just blew that right by us. Is that
iWood is the name.
iWood, and this is about all the different shapes of building lumber and for furniture and everything else that we can do with smaller girth or young growth lumber. Instead of pulling down the big trees,
right,
leave the granddaddy trees growing, and then you can use, and this, instead of getting a bit of a 2x4 dressed piece out of a 5-inch girth lumber, we can get 3 pieces of building material out of that younger growth. So it's great for fire management, and very good for forestry management to use smaller size lumber for making building materials and materials that we can use for scaled from furniture to picture frames.
You're talking softwood, hardwood?
Hardwoods, softwoods, whatever.
Okay.
Any type of lumber. I mean, heck, we're building with bamboo framing in Mexico right now. Because
bamboo's tough as nails. Yeah,
I know, right? But I mean, we're talking about forestry management here and fire prevention too, which is part of that equation. And the kids are the future, right? So sure. We're trying to help teach kids about the value of looking after the forests. We're actually working together on a game we're called Woodsies, which is, if you like, a cross between Lego and Meccano set, made out of the smaller diameter, smaller scale lumber. Remember the old game Pickup Sticks?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We're designing this game for kids sitting around the dining room table instead of sitting on the iPad all day long. Sit around and see if they can build something with this box of sticks.
Good for you. Yeah.
As a kid, I only played Pickup Sticks about 4 times before I realized this is just too much.
Well, the game Jenga is the name of the game. Jenga.
That's a fun game.
Well, listen. I think of us as the 3 green geezers, right? But because we're the green geezers, we amazingly have international appeal. And one of the reasons is because we often talk about other countries. So Greg is an expert for various reasons on New Zealand, and I'd like if you could bring us up to date on New Zealand and cannabis.
Well, now wait a minute. Is New Zealand one of those third world countries that doesn't have any schooling, and
You
they
better
don't know what
watch it. They'll
cannabis
send
is?
some it now. You better watch it. They'll send one of those Indians after you, man. And all they're going to do is just spit on you, and you're gone. The Maori Indians. Yeah, man, I dealt with some of those Maori guys playing rugby. You don't want to do that.
Also, New Zealand's got a forward education, and they know about hemp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they do.
let's go to New Zealand, Greg.
We grew hemp for the first time after many years in 2012. Actually, was our first crop down in New Zealand. And back then, we had to give the GPS coordinates to the Ministry of Health. We used to have to. We could be no closer than half a kilometre to a school or a public thoroughfare, and it was difficult. And then, in fact, the second crop that we grew, we came in hot above 0.3% THC. We had to destroy the crop. Right, we couldn't use it, and I was growing those acres for animal bedding for a goat farmer. But this year, actually, there's going to be a huge polar shift insofar as I won't need a license to grow industrial hemp. And as long as my THC level is below 1% THC, which is where it should be anyway, which is where it should be here in the United States. 0.3 is a ridiculous, arbitrary academic number that means absolutely diddly poo.
Agreed.
So 1% gives us that leeway, because when we're growing CBD hemp in America, oftentimes we can be above 0.3% just naturally, organically, depending on the elevation that we're growing as well. So this is a huge shift insofar as New Zealand is concerned for being able to grow industrial hemp down there and be able to extract cannabinoids or the CBD. And as long as we're below 1% THC per se, we don't have to adhere to the cannabis regulations for processing, extracting, and even export.
Are there a lot of growers?
There aren't a lot of growers, no. I mean, it's a country of 5 million people, for goodness sake. And we've got 50 million sheep running around. We use sheep to mow the lawn on the golf course. they call New Zealand Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud. It's somewhere far from anywhere, and we have a hole in the ozone layer down there. Skin cancer is becoming a bit of an issue, and that's because you got 50 million sheep and 40 million cows, and they all fart every day. So yeah, and that's why New Zealand actually has introduced a methane tax on farmers.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not making this up. It's not some sort of New Zealand tourist thing, huh? Is it true?
It's true. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I mean,
so they must tax per cow.
Basically per head, per head. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, you guys don't eat it. What, this is all export beef then, huh? You can't eat all this stuff.
You can't eat it, no. But,
no. I mean, you sell them. They go overseas. That you export these cattle, these sheep.
Oh yeah, New Zealand lamb is the best in the world, mate. I mean, let's face it. I mean, you think about, and I'm getting off topic a little bit, but you think about New Zealand lamb or Aussie lamb. Aussie lamb, it's an arid country, so you've got one or two sheep per acre. In New Zealand, you've got 20 sheep, 30 sheep per acre.
You feed them hemp?
So no, for sheep, so the meat coming from New Zealand, the lamb from New Zealand is the best in the world.
Oh, I've had it. You don't have to convince me. It's excellent. I was wondering if any of these sheep get any kind of a hemp product to eat.
No. So back in 2017, the laws changed in New Zealand whereby hemp foods were now legal for human consumption, but no longer legal for animal consumption. specifically production animal consumption. And the same thing is true in America, although there's moves afoot to reclassify to allow hemp foods for production animal consumption. So that
you wait a minute, excuse me, because this you can't have an animal in New Zealand being fed hemp. That's not legal. But are you also saying that's not legal here in the United States?
correct. It's not legal here in the United States. You can feed it to your backyard chickens or your cat or your dog, right? Your pet goldfish, but you can't feed it to production animals, right?
Wow. And so the only exception would be a production animals. So
Production animals,
so we got that. Yeah, bird seed, they got hemp in it.
Right.
But that's not a production animal.
What's
Correct.
the reasoning for that?
roasters.
What's the
No
reasoning
reason.
for not feeding production animals?
Well, because of the THC component.
Yeah.
Well, and then they might go. A human might eat the beef and get high.
These people are insane, aren't they, Greg? So
I've had a
anyway,
good steak, but I've never had a steak that got me high.
well, wait a minute.
Right.
Maybe New Zealand beef, you
No
get,
chickens.
some kind of trip. So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
you're going back to New Zealand, aren't you? You want to go down there and build houses for the underprivileged, and in the ozone layer, and in a place you can't feed hemp seed to your chickens. Okay, everybody's got to go where they got to go.
Well, this is just an extension or an expansion of what we're currently doing, because we operate on the west coast of the US, we operate on the east coast of the US, we consult different countries, and because I'm a dual citizen, I can travel backwards and forwards. And in New Zealand, where we can grow hemp legally now below 1%, it's worthwhile doing, because we can, just as we're building stuff over here for people in need, we're going to do the same thing down there and create villages and communities and so forth. So yeah.
Do you have a hemp community in New Zealand like we have in America? We got Normal, and we got a variety of organizations that lobby our politicians to help change laws. Do you all have that going on in New Zealand?
Yes, absolutely. You've got two factions. You've got the industrial hemp people, and you've got the marijuana people. And my feet are planted on both sides of the fence. So I talk with the New Zealand Medical Cannabis Council people. My old GP has been medical cannabis consulting now full time for the last 2 years. They've got 50,000 patients down there. They can prescribe. Any GP now in any office can write a prescription for up to 90 days worth of cannabis or CBD, any hemp product, up to 150 milligrams per day.
Well, and how about recreational use?
Recreational use is still not legal.
Well, I guess nobody smokes cannabis for fun then, huh?
No, it's all designed to be medical use.
Is it expensive?
It is. Yes, it is expensive. It's all under the umbrella from the under the medical cannabis regs under the New Zealand Ministry of Health, Ministry of Primary Industries, and so it's all very, very tightly scheduled and licensed. There are SOPs for other growers to come under the umbrella, and I'm in discussions, consulting, talking with companies down there that are growing indoor material for trimming and extraction and so forth. And
when you go into one of these discussions about getting some hemp to build a building, are you talking to the health department or the agriculture department?
Talking to the health department.
Oh, well, that makes no sense at all.
Makes no sense whatsoever. But I still have to go to the building and safety equivalent.
Oh, I get that. No, I thought, what did he just say? And yeah, that's
okay. And my other question is, in America, we could point to Anslinger and Randolph Hearst as two of the proponents that pushed this plant underground. And then I've been told through the past several years of my research that the American laws is what caused other countries to outlaw cannabis. Is that true in New Zealand, or was
very true? Absolutely.
yeah, sure.
Yep, absolutely. Canada, where Al's from, has been growing, seed hemp or oil hemp or food hemp for many, many years. When in fact, a lot of that straw is coming down into America for processing to turn it into hemp wood flooring, and into to herd for animal bedding, and for building. Right? It's because there's not enough hemp grown in America for that, and there's a lot of hemp grown for oil in oil fields in Canada. So once you've gone through and combined the grain from the crop, you're left with a short stalk that's maybe 3 or 4 feet tall. So then you go through and sickle bar cut that, and you bale it up, and then we dry that and process that. And so a lot of that stuff is coming south of the border into the US for processing to turn it into bedding, primarily bedding material, and then into other products, of course.
Good. Canadian hemp being used in the US.
Yeah, and we don't have the tariff problems.
No. Correct.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Well, Canada will soon no longer have tariff problems once they become our 51st state.
Yeah, I was just thinking that myself. It's just that thing is just got to go away.
Yeah. Now, Greg, I see that you've got here on your website, you've got a section called pets, and you've mentioned some stuff as far as bedding.
Yeah.
Anything else that you do with the pet end? I think there's some cat litter there.
Yeah, we use, we've supplied hemp animal bedding and kitty litter and small animal bedding for a long, long time. We've used the same herd that we use for building houses. We've used for research rats, mice. We've used it for, reptiles. We use it for horses. We use it for pigs and goats. I actually grew hemp with a goat farmer that milks 1,500 goats, and it was cheaper overall than using wood shavings and sawdust.
Wow.
Yeah. And
I'm just curious, the goats would eat the herd, though, wouldn't they?
No, they don't eat it at all. No.
Really? I thought goat eat anything.
No, they're not. It's not. It's not palatable.
No, it's just that. That's wow, man. That's cool as hell. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of
horses bedding, small animal bedding, like little gerbils and stuff like that. Oh,
it's used.
My son rented that in Germany with their high quality horses. They used hemp for their stables, and everywhere it was hemp. Yeah.
We actually did. We did a study in Australia many, many years ago, and we found that hemp, although initially more expensive than wood shavings and sawdust, which was commonly used for horse stalls, we found that after 3 months, the hemp actually became cheaper than wood shavings and sawdust because one, you're using less material, two, you've got less transportation costs, and three, you've got less storage costs, and four, you've got less muck out costs. And so we did the analysis we did the spreadsheet analysis based on the labor rates at $25 an hour, for example. And it doesn't matter what number you plug in there, it always comes out the same. Comparing to wood shavings and sawdust, which is most commonly used for horse bedding, the hemp turns out to be cheaper. Premium bedding and cheaper.
And hemp is, to a degree, naturally anti-bacteria and antifungal, right? Antimicrobial,
and also because of the hygroscopic nature of the cellulose. When the horse is peeing on top of the bedding, it filters through to the bottom, to the bottom mat. So the top of the bedding is always staying dry.
Yeah, I would think that would be I tell you, my son used to work with these Olympic type people, and they're nuts. And they would not put a horse into a stall that didn't have that bedding on it. They wouldn't do it.
Yep.
Well, we're down to the last 3 minutes, it looks like already. This time has flown by. Greg, you want to give a last shout out or make any last final comments for the day's broadcast?
Well, I appreciate what you guys are doing very much. I enjoyed listening to your songs earlier, Casper, from your new Illusion band. And you guys are walking the talk, actually. and that's what's important today. So many people, they're very apathetic, and they say, oh yeah, no, someone else is doing it, and we'll just talk about it. But you guys are actually doing it. So my hat's off to you.
Thank you
for what you're doing.
Sir. Thank you.
And you give a shout out for your website one more time.
Yeah, mate. It's hemptechglobal.com. hemptechglobal.com, and in there we've got an e-commerce site, but it's really educational. There's lots of stuff there, from farming to processing to you name it, to building. I even have calculations in there for how much hemp you'll need to build however many square feet you want, and how much labor you need, and so forth.
I saw that when I was going through the website. There's lots of information there. Educational stuff, everything.
That's the idea.
And speaking of educational stuff, Al Graham, that is one of your biggest focus up in Canada, is to educate about this wonderful plant. Why don't you let people know what you're doing to spread the word?
Well, you can come listen to us or come watch us at paceradio.net. We're talking about psychedelics. We're talking about cannabis. We've got news. We've got patient interviews, and we got everything else that you can throw into the book. We've got things change all the time, and you just never know what you're going to find on a show each time that you tune in. So, paceradio.net.
Speaking of throwing it into a book, I know somebody who did just that, Al Byrne. He put it into this groovy book called For Country and Cannabis. Al, you want to say hello and goodbye?
Yep. Hello, goodbye. The book's available everywhere. It's a good deal, and it's a history book. We're talking history a lot of, and it's full of it. So full of history, not full of it.
And don't forget, when you go to timeforhemp.news, you can download all kinds of free music about how wonderful cannabis is. There's also audio podcasts you can download for free. We got a large archive that you can focus on and wander through and learn a lot from the founders of the cannabis movement. A lot of them are in there. And you can find all kinds of blogs that you can share with friends, videos that you might find of interest, all about how important it is to take time for hemp.
Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they've spent. Take another look and take some time for hemp. Don't cut trees for paper, 'cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Well, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, it's time for hemp. Throughout Earth's history, hemp has been used, no mystery. Hemp was legal to pay your taxes for more than a century. Check your faxes. The founding fathers make sense to me. It's time to grow hemp legally. Think of all its uses. It's money that's well spent. Right now, no excuses. It's time for hemp. Sustainable green industry, that's our intent. A better place this world will be. It's time for hemp. Fuel and food and clothes and soap, housing, cars, yeah, cars, no joke. Henry Ford built a car of hemp. It's time for us to do it again. People be employed with balanced farming as it's meant. Right now, it's time for hemp. Hemp is a true necessity for the wealth and protection of this country. These are words of Jefferson Thomas. He grew hemp, why not us? It's time to lift the hemp band. It's time to lift the hemp band. yet we can. I know we can make a difference. Yes, we can. Yes, I know we can. We can work together and lift the hemp band. Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they've spent. Take another look and take some time for him. Don't cut trees for paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for him.